Hey there. We're going to talk about what makes a good circle time, incorporating with music and movement. So when you are doing your circle times, as many of you are already doing, so you're probably pretty well versed in doing circle times. Um, I want to just share with you some of the tricks of the trade from somebody who's been doing it for a long time. So I'm going to read to you something. A preschool class had just finished singing the song No Witches when Alice suddenly announced, "This song is a pattern. See? The first and third lines are the same, and the second and fourth lines are the same. It's a pattern." Alice had recognized the form of the song, and the melody did indeed form an alternating pattern. Group music experiences give children the opportunity to create music collaboratively and share ideas. The group time activities are often coordinated with a whole language activity, such as an interactive chart, or a big book, or a whole math activity, such as an estimation or patterning. Music helps teachers pace group time experiences and maintain children's focus. So, why are group music activities important? Well, through these shared activities, children can construct relationships about music. For example, they learn to sing in tune. They learn to match pitches. They learn to understand that high is high and low is low. Some people go through their whole lives not understanding where their voice is in relation to other pitches. My husband is a college music professor and has been since forever. And he's had people who have gone through his programs where they literally don't know where their voice is in relation to the scale, and that's because they weren't exposed as young children. So it is important to teach children about pitch, and they can learn it. It does not necessarily have anything to do with talent. They can learn. It's not necessarily genetics. Genetics plays a part in anything, of course. We all have our talents, but you can learn it. I always thought that I was terrible at math. Now math is my favorite thing to teach. It's something that you can overcome if you feel like you have a lack in that area and you overcome it. It's even that much more exciting. So for those of you future teachers or teachers who are teaching now, and if you feel like, I can't ever do this, yes, you can. You can do it. But you're going to learn along with your students, and that's okay. So, singing in tune. Children must hear the pitches others are singing and then try to produce matching pitches themselves. That's something that they can do during group time. So those pitch matching activities that I taught you last week, those are valuable. Those are really valuable in training the ear. Okay. Staying together. I've done a lot of circle times where children, they all start singing at all different times, and it sounds like cacophony because nothing's together. And so I'll have to bring them back and say, "Oh, my friends, that sounded terrible." And it's okay to say that. It's not mean. You're just making an observation like, "Wow, that really sounded awful. Let's try that again. How about we all start together? If we start together, it will sound much better." So learning to watch the director, the glorified director, and learning to start on the same pitch. So if you're singing Happy Birthday and everybody starts on different pitches, well, that sounds pretty bad, right? But if people start on the same pitch, then it sounds a lot better. So staying together. Children learn to regulate their rate of singing to that of the group. Form. Children discover that some lines of music sound the same and some sound different. Some children, like Alice, realize that this is a pattern. Rhythm. Rhythm's a big one. So children develop a feel for the beat and may begin to hear and reproduce rhythmic patterns. This is also a literacy skill, so it's pre-reading. If children can clap beats, then later they can syllabicate words. Syllabicating words is a precursor to reading, and it aids them in learning how to chunk it out. So if they're reading big words and you chunk it out, then it helps them. What factors should teacher consider when planning music groups? Well, teachers should consider the ages and experiences of the children. So if children are very young, you don't want your circle times to be very long. You want them to be pretty short, actually. So I'd say maybe if you've got a bunch of 3-year-olds, your circle time can be maybe 6 minutes. If you've got 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, it can be longer. If you've got kindergartners and first graders, then of course longer. So, but read the room. You know, you need to understand how to regulate your circle times to correspond with what's happening in your classroom right at that very moment. Even if you have this whole big, long list of things that you want to accomplish, you know, maybe your list is like that, but your kids are wiggly. Well, change it up. You have to see to the needs of the children. Their emotional well-being is more important than your checklist. Okay? So just go, well, that didn't work today. I'm going to try to get to that during second circle, and we'll see if it works this time. Or maybe you need to amend your circle time. Maybe you're boring. I hate to say it, but some circle time teachers are not very entertaining, and children don't want to listen to them. Okay? If a child is not interested in something, they will not attend. They will not listen. They will not learn. And I sad to say, I have witnessed some circle times, not at my school, I think it is, but when I've gone to observe other schools, I've observed a circle time teacher who was a snooze fest, and I just couldn't believe these poor kids had to just wait to go outside. She was transitioning them to go outside, and she was boring. If your kids are not paying attention, maybe it's you. Try to make sure you are engaging. You are an actor on the stage. You are on the circle time stage. You need to be fun and you need to be exciting. You need to make sure your face is showing that excitement. My eyebrows are up. My eyes are open. My face has a slight smile to it. I'm exuding kindness and love. I want to make sure that these children want to learn what I'm teaching them. Not that they have to learn. It's joyful. Joyful engagement is what we are after. So if you are reading the room and your kids are squirrely and wiggly, and you've done everything you can, and your partner, your teaching assistant says, no, that was awesome, that was great, you were wonderful, then maybe it's too long, or maybe that day they just need to go outside earlier. Every day is different. So just try your best and keep on keeping on. Keep making sure that you are sensitive to the needs of the child. Okay, so what types of activities should be included in group time? Well, so many. You can be teaching content. You can be teaching, so like let's say you're studying space. Get out some songs from They Might Be Giants album. Those are fun. Do some fun things. Have them stand up and pretend that somebody is the sun and that the planets are revolving around that child. So you've got kids who are wearing, maybe you make them some sort of a thing that they can wear that denotes their planetary status. And so here comes Mercury, and Mercury's walking around the sun. The child is being the sun in the center. Think about fun ways to incorporate movement, music into whatever you're studying. It doesn't matter. You could be studying the solar system, like I just said, or you could be studying butterflies, frogs. Have the children leap from lily pad to lily pad. Have the lily pads numbered so they're learning math skills. Or have the lily pads have letters on them and say, oh, now little froggy, jump to the letter F. Okay, now little froggy, jump to the letter G. Now little froggy, jump to the letter O. And then, okay, 3 jumps, and then go off to do your work time. So movement, large motor, small motor, singing, matching pitches, learning about instruments, clapping rhythms, all those fun things. And I'll be teaching you a lot of different songs this quarter, so you'll have a lot of tools in your tool bag, okay? The entire group time does not need to be music, of course. Often, teachers include stories, whole language activities, or math activities. Music helps pace the group time so children can more easily remain focused. So we use it as a focusing tool. It's a classroom management tool as well. How many activities should be included? Well, it depends on how short they are. You want them to be really short. If you do like 5 or 6 activities, then of course you want your activities to be quite short. If you have more prolonged activities, then maybe just 2 or 3. It depends. So, for instance, if you read a story, well, that might take 2 or 3 minutes, and so then you want to have maybe your story goes along with a work that you have on the shelf. Let's say you're learning about butterflies and you're showing on your work time rug at the circle how to lay out the life cycle of a butterfly. And maybe there's an art project that goes with it. So you lay out your life cycle of the butterfly, show how to do the art project, read a little story, and then sing a little transition song. And the transition song can be how they get out of circle to go to work time. So just think about how long things are and are they engaged. The children who are least engaged, make sure they go first, okay? So that they can stop having to sit. What should teachers consider when arranging the sequence of activity? Pacing. Pacing is important. And again, that's that whole read the room thing. You need to, as a teacher, you need to be sensitive to the needs of the group around you. If the children are really squirrely, figure out a way to make it more interesting and then end it quickly. Okay? Quiet activities are the best thing to do in the mornings too, because you don't want them to be overstimulated and then you have a chaotic classroom for the entire morning. You want to have your more exciting things happen during second circle, which is right before they go outside. What is a good way to begin the group? Well, a familiar song. That is the best way to start your circle times. Beginning with a familiar song allows children to join in immediately and helps focus their attention. Often, transition songs are used. Hearing their names quickly draws children's attention. After the opening song, the teacher can introduce a new activity that requires closer concentration. So, if you use the same song to bring them to circle, it develops what's called a Pavlovian response, so that children understand that, oh, I'm hearing that song. It's time for me to come to circle time. Yay. So try that and see if that works in your classroom. What is a good way to end your group? Well, I like doing transition activities. So, and it can be informal assessments as well. So you can do fun activities with movement that, like I talked about with the frogs, jumping from clover to clover, or I'm sorry, I'm messing up, lily pad to lily pad, like jump on the numbers 1 through 10 in order, jump from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10, or jump on these letters and then hop on out, froggy. And so ending circle is a good way to learn yourself. Can this child count to 10? Do they know their numbers in order? Maybe they don't. Maybe then you'd like write a note to yourself, or put it in your mind like, oh, Susie needs another lesson on counting to 10. She needs to learn the correspondence of the numerals to the counting, the number. Okay, so these are great ways to assess your students and see where they might need some help. Should everyone come to group time? I would say that's the goal. You want to have this shared experience shared among all of the students. Is it a hard and fast rule? No, because all children are different. And some children need that extra time. Maybe they've got anxiety about coming to circle for whatever reason. I've had that happen in my school before. So I've had a little guy who, for some reason, he just felt anxious about coming to circle time. He would rather sit at the table. He listened. He heard everything. He watched. And he was not disruptive, but he just felt uncomfortable coming to circle. So pretty soon, after about a year of just letting him hang out at the table while we did circle time, I started moving my body more in front of him. Well, he wanted to see what we were doing. He wanted to see the art project or the science experiment or the fun music activity. But he couldn't see because I was sitting right in his direct line of vision. So he'd have to like come around and start watching from a different angle. And that's how I got him to start coming to circle, because he just was curious. He wanted to see what we were doing. So be sneaky, be a sneaky teacher. Don't say, no, you have to come to circle, because then that creates, more anxiousness. Just invite them in, draw them in, make it so interesting that they can't miss it. How can teachers plan longitudinally for music activities? Well, start small and get to, your goal, whatever your goal is. If your goal is to teach children how to read music, then that's your goal. If you don't have a goal, maybe start thinking about one. Do you want them to be able to sing in tune? Do you want them to match pitches? Do you want them to understand rhythmic values? What is your goal? Or do you want them to just learn math and literacy through singing? Maybe that's your goal. That's a good goal too. But start small. And those of you who feel like you have no musical experience and music terrifies you and you actually have anxiety about teaching music, that's one reason why it's great to start with these preschoolers, because you're starting out small too. Learn with your students. That's okay. You can make mistakes. They are a very forgiving crowd and they will not judge you. Just try new things. Don't be worried about risking yourself, and let go of your ego. You have to let it go. When you are a teacher of small children, you have to decide, make the decision, I'm going to act like a silly nut right in front of these kids, and don't give it a second thought, because they will love you for it. They will revere you for it. Allow yourself to feel and show the joy in your heart, even if you have to fake it for a while. You might just be feeling terror, but you can do it. How long should teachers continue specific songs or activities? Forever. I mean, not until like 4th grade or anything, but recently I was doing a circle time, and I think I had some of my older students come and help me, and they even said, I miss these songs, because they remember them from when they were in the primary classroom. I think I had to sub for some primary teachers or something. But the older students who I was having assist, they're like, oh, I remember these songs. I love them. They love repeated songs that are attached to their memory and their heartstrings. So keep on doing the same songs. It's how they learn. Remember, I said in last week's lesson, do it early, do it often. Sing, sing, sing. Play CDs. Play music notes. Get them exposed to music and, of course, movement. Early and often. So, if you are planning a music circle, of course, you need an opening song. You need an introduction song. That song could be your music circle music that you either turn on or you start playing on the piano. Maybe you have a keyboard nearby. And that is, again, remember, that's that Pavlovian response. Then you might start off with a little learning activity like, boys and girls, let's say you're learning about plants. On my way to school today, I passed by this beautiful plant on the side of the road. I was so inspired. I just had to stop on the side of the road, get out of my car, pull it out of the ground, and bring it to you to show you, because it's beautiful. Of course, you would only do that with things like that were growing wild. You don't want to do that with your neighbor's garden, of course. But and then you can say, I thought the roots were amazing, and the stem was so long, and the leaves, look at these leaves, and then the flowers. Let's study this flower today, and maybe pass it around the classroom. And then you can show them how to make their parts of a flower book. And then you can sing a little song about being a seed growing into a flower. Boom, circle time, success. And each child can have their turn pretending they're a seed growing into a flower, and then off they go to work time. That's just an example of something you can do at the drop of a hat. If you've planned your lessons for the year or for the month, and you're doing lessons on frogs, lessons on butterflies, lessons on space, lessons on the universe, or whatever, because they don't know, they need to know everything, right? You can do lessons on kitty cats, lessons on a goat. What are the animals that live on a farm? You can find songs about everything. We live in this wonderful world now where there is a plethora of music available to you as a teacher. And you can just Google it. Find songs that go along with your content areas. It's fun, and you learn something new too. So that's my lesson on what makes a successful music circle. I hope you liked it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Bye.